Alrighty, guys, welcome to tonight's charting session. Hopefully, everybody is doing well. Glad to have everybody back. Happy Sunday. Feels like it's been a long anytime that I haven't done a live in like 3 days, it feels like a long time because I didn't trade Friday because of NFP. So Friday, Saturday, it's only been actually 2 days, but it feels like a long time. Glad to be back. Happy Sunday. Hopefully, everybody enjoyed their weekend and is ready to get back to it this week. So first thing in tonight's session, again, like we always do on Sunday, I want to talk about where we are in the charts, a little bit about what happened last week. I do want to review Friday's price action because I didn't end up trading it. So I do want to look back and see if there was any sort of high quality opportunity that I would have possibly seen. And also, I do want to see what kind of trades that you guys took as well. So number one, going into kind of where we are in the charts, last week we ended up starting off selling back off into the range. We recognized again on ES where we were. We talked about this sell side level and generated sell side that we had to the left of us down here. ES ended up finishing this market maker sell model, taking out all of this low resistance liquidity to the downside. These equal lows ended up getting taken before this 1 minute fair value gap getting ran through to the upside. Again, hunting right back towards buy side. Right, market always moving back and forth, hunting buy side to then hunt sell side. We end up generating all this sell side here before taking it out all at once and then taking out all the longs at once as well, all this buy side. And now we're starting to form some new structure. NQ came back down as well, back to equilibrium of the previous range that we were in, and also back to this 4-hour order block that we ended up having. We actually tapped this perfectly before getting some nice displacement to the upside. On Friday, which was actually really, really nice, is opening up into the day going into Friday. We had this really big 4-hour fair value gap, and going into Friday, I would be super, super bullish because after displacing up out of this order block, out from equilibrium, we have these generated buy side levels here that we expect to most likely get ran. So I am bullish going into tomorrow, wanting to see a continuation to these highs. So I kind of want to take a look and zoom in here to see and kind of replay. I actually kind of want to replay some Friday action, and we'll see if there might have been anything that I might have seen. So let's do 15 seconds before. So right now, again, going into my bias, if I was going into Friday, what's my bias? Number one, I'm bullish. I'm going to mark my buy side level. We have relative equal highs here. This is exactly where I want to see market go, right? Because bigger time frame, we're bullish. We've retraced. We have nice displacement. Market is now starting to move back a little bit to equilibrium. So at this point in time, all I'm watching to see is the reaction, right? And another thing we talked about as well is when we have a big imbalance like this, right? When we have a big 4-hour imbalance, always try to fine tune where we are going to bounce. So how do I do that? I have a 4-hour fair value gap. I zoom into the 1 hour. Is there any imbalance here that I start to get a better idea of where we are? Okay, I get this one. This one's smaller, right? This now is a more defining area. Okay, now I zoom in even more. 15 minute. Okay, now this is even a more defining area. Okay, now let me go to the 5 minute. And this is going to be the area that I'm most likely watching for, right? Zoomed in. You can see how this is where we have to going. So this is kind of most the area where I'm starting to watch for, right? So I'm looking at the 5 minute fair value gap. Market opens in around 20 minutes or 15 minutes or so. I'm watching the 5 minute. And what I kind of want to recognize here is, number one, is there possibly going to be an easy recognition of manipulation, right? So I'm going to mark in my internal buy side level here. And I really want to pull up ES because this is really going to give me the big telltale is if we end up forming an SMT down here or not. So again, continue to run PA until market opens. ES ends up having one last move down, and this is what I'm looking for right here. This is what I'm looking for right here. So I'm at a point of interest, right? I'm at a point of interest in which I already expect market to bounce, right? We're retracing back down. The drawn liquidity on the bigger time frame is higher. And now I know we're back into this bigger time frame imbalance where I'm expecting to bounce, right? So then what I do is I recognize the internal draws, right? Okay, I know we have a high here. This is going to act as buy side. I'm looking somewhere down here for manipulation. I'm looking for possibly AMD and SMT, right? And actually we get both here. So we get a nice accumulative phase before having a manipulation move lower and getting displacement up. This is when I expect price to start running, right? This is when we expect that expansion. We have accumulation, manipulation, and I'm now expecting distribution to the upside, as well as looking at ES here. ES is now making a higher low while NQ makes that lower low, right? So this is now giving me the perfect recognition of manipulation. So right now, this would be a great time to look for a long. In fact, depending on what your entry model is, I think this would be the first entry. Right when this fair value gap right here gets broken, this is where I would honestly look to take an entry. So let's even say we get a bad fill here, move my stop down here. And I would say this would be a possible trade. My first PT would be this high, and then I would let the rest go to those equal highs, right? And another entry I could possibly look for is a little bit of a 1 minute breaker, but I also would want to zoom out and see how the 5 minute is ending up going to form when market opens, right? Because market open just ended up opening right now. So we'll see how this ends up playing out here. End up just exploding at the open, right? Again, this fair value gap, this is showing we don't really want to go much lower here, right? We most likely don't want to go much lower. We're already expecting to see displacement out of this range. We get the SMT, we get displacement out of here, and we end up just running. Let's see if there's another possible way of entering here. So at this point in time, I would, again, zoom out to the 5 minute. This is where I would really be watching for price to come back to, is this 5 minute. There we go, right here. So this is where I would be looking to take another possible long entry if I didn't get the initial long. And really the best way that I would really be looking to take a trade here is there's multiple ways that I could start to enter into this trade. The way that I like to view this is, number one, we just had this massive move to the upside. Currently, we're in the 5 minute breaker. So we're in a 5 minute breaker. We have a fair value gap. This is my unicorn entry. So you could just slap this, but you do want to give this more room though, because we still can't come back down to this lower imbalance, right? So you got to keep that in mind. So there's two ways you can trade this. I can just enter right now, but my stop's going to need to be a little bit looser because we can come down here. So again, not a bad R, 1.5. If it's, again, this is still a high probability entry. I don't care if you have 1.5 R. This is still a totally fine entry because it's a high quality model, right? We're most likely going to continue to hold this and continue higher. So I'm fine with having this extra risk. The next way you could understand this is, keep in mind, we're not yet in discount of this range. Now, we don't need to go back to discount or OTE of this range because the breaker is already holding us, but I would like to see us come back down. So one way you could possibly start to do is scale in, right? Scale in on your first position right now. So I get in, let's say half size here, and I move my stop around here. So I'm in half my potential risk here. And now what I do is, this is how I scale in. This is how I start to position myself. Whenever there's a trade where I can enter right now and it could work, but there's still a possibility that I could go through more drawdown, I'll enter half my position, and then I wait for either one of two things. I wait for us to continue lower and then wait for the displacement up, or I wait for the displacement up and then I add my full position and then I move my stop loss. So I'm watching the 1 minute. I'm watching the 1 minute. We get the displacement candle, and I'll take whatever this is most likely, or I'll wait for manipulation. So I would want to see this low get stopped, and that's mostly what I'd be looking for. Is if we have this initial move, most of the time you guys will initially just take this imbalance, and a lot of the times market will not just go straight to that level, right? We're going to need some form of liquidity for that next expansion move to happen. So we'll most likely accumulate before another manipulation and then continue higher. So this is where I would also pull up ES and expect to see possibly an SMT, another SMT at an area where we would expect to possibly see an SMT, right? So I noticed this low here on ES, this low here on NQ. Let's see if NQ ended up coming back down. Again, at this point in time, I would most likely be half in, looking for another opportunity to add back to this position. Now, we are getting displacement. We are starting to accumulate here. Now, the best thing I would really like to see, though, is a stop rate at one of these lows. So this looks like an opportunity. Maybe we took this low or not. I'm waiting. There we go, right here. Now, is this the SMT I'm looking for? That's exactly what I'm looking for. Right there. Now, immediately jumping in. Right? You don't need displacement. You don't need a fair value gap. It depends on your entry model, but there you go. That is what you're looking for. Immediately jump in long. This should now immediately pump. Why? Because we've done everything we needed to do in price, right? A lot of the times when you guys start to, I'll say this, a lot of you guys go into the market so eager to jump in. And a lot of the times, the times in which you start to get eager in the market is when you know what the draw is, right? Like, for example, we know that we're in the next 30 minutes or the next 20 minutes, we will be taking a trade. Or like, we want to take a trade because we know exactly what the market wants to do most of the time. We've had the manipulation. We've had the displacement. We know the market wants to go to these equal highs. But what's the opportunity? What's going to be really the telltale sign to let me jump in, right? Which one? Again, it always goes back to the easiest question. Which entry do you think is going to look better? This right here, or just taking this fair value gap right here, right? And what's the reason why? You just have more structure. There's a reason why this is happening. We're having another accumulation before having manipulation and then starting the distribution move, right? The exact same thing that we do down here. We have accumulation before manipulating, creating a soup, SMT, and then we do the exact same thing at a point in time which we already expect to bounce, right? I'm not just looking at this in anywhere. It all has to do with context. I'm not looking for this formation normally. Now I am, but most of the time when I'm looking for an entry, I'm looking for something to validate what my entry is. And I'm already at a point in time which I expect us to bounce, which is we're in a 5-minute breaker, we're in a 5-minute fair value gap, and we just had an SMT and a stop at that low. So this is exactly what I would want to see. How'd this play out? And there you go. Again, A+. It should be dumb fucking clear. It should be dumb clear. So who took these trades on Friday? There was 2 really A+ quality setups on Friday morning. Who took those trades? Because those were really, really clean. Those were really clear. I expect a lot of people to have taken them. If you're in our community and you've been here for a while, and I'm doing my job right, I think a lot of you guys should have taken this trade. How many of you guys did? Soup's the best entry. Me. That was clean. Me. I took the long, took the inverse fair value gap. Nice. Again, always different entry models, which is love. It depends on who you are as a trader, but we're all seeing the same things. Nice. Truth got the executions there as well. Took the first one, hopped in on that breaker. Took the first long. Not me. All good. Missed my entry. 0 trades. Had a rule not to trade NFP and was just watching. All good. Paper traded it. Missed entry by a tick. That 1 minute fair value gap never filled. Unfortunate. Me, that explanation was fire. Much love, much love. Missed my entry. We'll get there. All good. Yeah, this was a really, really nice setup. Really, really nice. And I want you guys to understand as well, the way that I'm explaining this is we're looking for areas and points in time in price, which we already expect to see the market have some form of move, right? So it all just comes down to looking for an entry, right? When we're looking for the right entry, a lot of you guys jump the gun. And what happens when you jump the gun is it skews your risk. So the times that you actually end up losing, you're giving back most profits that you shouldn't be giving back. And that skews your overall consistency because a lot of the times you guys just aren't patient enough to wait for the dumb, clear entry. And instead, you're focused on price running without you. Again, you're afraid of missing out. You're not thinking about, hey, there's always going to be another trade. Instead, you're focused on getting in right now because you don't want to miss the setup, right? It looks so good. It looks like we're going to this high. Looks like we're going here. Looks like we're going here. But again, like I always said, it doesn't matter how much confidence that you have. Even if I think the market is going to this high, if there is not an entry model that is going to give me the risk that I am looking for, I'm not going to take it. And there is no reason that you should be taking it either. Again, it's the difference between being in a money-making mindset versus a building good habit and improving as a trader mindset. And guess which one's going to make you more money? Not the money-making one. So going into a day like this, 2 really, really nice setups, literally the exact same setup 2 times in a row, but 2 different ways of defining them, right? 2 different ways of defining them. This becomes our original manipulation move because we're in the imbalance, what we already expect. We go into the morning knowing we have these relative equal highs. The bigger time frame draw is higher. Again, what do we always say? The best quality setups is when you are going to align the bigger time frame bias with the internal time frame bias. This is the overall model in itself, right? This is a model in itself that we already can recognize, right? Zooming out though, this also aligns with the bigger time frame bias because we know we've already retraced balance. We've already rebalanced price to equilibrium on the bigger time frame range. We have all this generated buy side, and we've now gotten the displacement move up. So this just becomes the bigger time frame retracement before continuing the trend, right? So overlapping the bias is exactly what we want to see in price. This is how you can recognize when you're going to get good, efficient action. And again, notice how clean this PA is. This is the kind of PA we'd love to see. We have accumulation and then a beautiful expansion, right? No messing around. And then again, accumulation before manipulation. And then again, another expansion. It's clear because why? Why is it clear? Because time and price is aligning in relationship to the model. You are aligning the lower time frame model with the bigger time frame model, and this is when you will get efficient price action. Okay? Does that make sense? Does everybody understand this? Some oh my gods. Mind explosion. All right, let's see what happens after this. Now, at this point in time, am I bearish or bullish? Now, a lot of you guys might say bearish because their buy side level's taken. But from where we are in the chart, I expect to move higher because there's no reason for us to move lower. We've rebalanced price. We've now had displacement. We're moving back to these highs. I would expect a first, most likely, an initial rebalance before continuing higher because the bigger time frame, the draw on liquidity is still higher. So I expect most likely a continuation breakout of this. So again, if I'm looking to maybe take a trade here, number one, any setup after this high gets taken is going to be lower probability. but I would want to see a retrace first and then a continuation higher. So we retrace back to the 5-minute for value gap. Let me zoom down to the 1 minute. Let me see if there was maybe an entry here, possibly an SMT. Let's pull up ES. ES ends up coming down, take the previous low, no SMT. Pulling back to the 5-minute. We also have another breaker here. This is where I would be looking to see an SMT here. Did we end up taking that low on ES? We ended up forming equal low, so this is possible SMT here. So I would expect NQ to just run right now. So this inverse for value gap should most likely hold. This would be considered SMT. This might be another possible long opportunity on NQ. We should continue higher here. There you go. Little internal. Again, just scalping. And then from here, waiting for more structure. Most likely just continuing higher the rest of the day. Ooh, we got an initial rebalance. This is one I bet a lot of people would try shorting this massive imbalance. I would expect this to most likely get ran through, to be honest. I would be watching this order block here. If this fair value gap gets ran through here, we go lower. If this holds, we pump to new highs. Holds, waiting, came back, still holding. I would expect to be pretty bullish by now. 1 minute PA is pretty lacking. Again, I still would want to pull up ES here and see if there's any clear SMTs down here. Doesn't look like it. But since this imbalance is still holding, we actually just came back down, swept this internal low, rebalanced price back to OT of this range, and we're still holding this. I would most likely expect to see another move higher up to this high, and then another move higher up to this high. There we go. And then at this point in time, at this point in the day, I really wouldn't be touching anything. See what else happens in price. Ooh, did we take that high? No, we didn't. Might have been an SMT here at these highs. I don't want to go back, look at ES here. Did we end up taking that high on ES? No, we did not. Okay, zooming out to the 5 minute. Just took this internal low or internal high here. Now gotten displacement. Nice 5 minute fair value gap. This is where I'd be looking to see if this 5 minute starts to hold or not. We're generating all this sell stops right here. Still didn't retrace. Once that low gets taken, though, I wouldn't touch it. Yeah, so now we're at where we are right now. All right. So, any questions on Friday? Any questions on just that PA? That was actually really, really clean for an NFP day. That was really nice. Yeah, this whole session is recorded, Kivo. Took this on the higher 10-minute time frame. You think this is a chase? Was working on, came back to the charts and was still bullish, or was working out and just came back to the charts? Okay, this is two different. Now, would I prefer you to take a setup here? Absolutely, because there's this internal model wasn't taken, right? The best setups we're going to take, again, overlapping the external bias with the internal bias. Once this high gets taken, the internal bias is complete. So you can expect to see a continuation, but this is ultimately going to be a lower quality setup than this is going to be because these highs are still in place. So it's not bad, but it's lower quality than what you could have taken earlier in the day. An SMT is not a market structure shift, no. Your old risk management video really helped me out on scaling down and understanding more psychology. Pure gold. Much love, brother. Thank you. Taken at the end of day silver bullet. Yeah, this looks really nice. Again, the exact same model. You will see this happen every single day, guys. Repeats. Accumulation, manipulation, distribution to the upside. Every single day. Beautiful. Now it's just finding that and making sure it aligns with the bigger time frame buys. You think, or yeah, I realized this was B setup, had lower risk, was at work. Again, love it. If you recognize it, lower risk, exactly what you should be doing. You think this is a bad because it is in the opposite direction of the higher time frame. I don't think there was any short here in general. I just don't think there was enough structure to validate anything. Again, no buy stops have been taken. No sell stops have been taken. There's no reason for you to expect lower prices because this high ended up just getting created. There was no rate of this, so there's no reason for us to go take this low. Just because we get displacement and a fair value gap doesn't mean you should be shorting. We're just creating buy stops and sell stops on both sides before having manipulation on one of them and continuing higher. You don't trade accumulation. When we have an expansion move like this, what happens afterwards? We expect accumulation. Don't trade until you recognize the next manipulation move when we're here, right? Either SMT or continuation. There's nothing here that tells me that we want to go lower, at least to this low or this high. Just because this little move here and a fair value gap, this will just continue to chop you back and forth until we have this move here. Then notice how efficient price action is. Why is that? Because all these sell stops end up getting taken. There's no reason for price to go lower. We retrace back higher. Your indication of going higher is this fair value gap getting ran through, this bearish imbalance. If you would have to restart all over again, how long would you think it would take you to make 100K? And do you think you would be 100K? Probably like 6 months, if not maybe lower. Oh, wait, without my experience? Wait, hold on. If you would have to restart all over again, how long would you think it will take you to make 100K? And do you think you would be able mentally trading be the only income source? Okay, so if I had no experience, but like I had myself as a mentor, 100K in payouts. Let me think. With the gaining experience, I would say you need at least 6 months of I know you can do it. But it doesn't mean you should be doing it because honestly, I think that if you set yourself up and give you more time, you're just going to become a better trader. Like, if you try to get 100K payout in 3 months, it might be possible, but I guarantee you that person that got 100K in the first 3 months of trading ends up losing all of that fucking money because they don't have the experience to keep it. That's the difference. It doesn't matter how quick you make money. It's most likely not your money to begin with because you're going to fucking lose it. So, honestly, I would say I can make 100K in a year. I would honestly focus on at least a year. Because anything less than that, you're not going to keep that money because you don't have the experience of doing so. And you don't have the mental capacity to do so. I meant if we do have an SMT, we don't need market structure shift. You said, yes, exactly. If it's in relationship to the model and it's a soup, yes. You don't need them. This is clean, Sophia. Questions. Did I enter with proper turtle soup or too early as I should wait for a CI steady form? No, this is you sniped this. This is exact soup entry. You recognized the manipulation. You jumped in. The only other thing that you could possibly look for is change in state of delivery or this imbalance getting ran through. So there's again, it all depends on who you are as a trader. There's multiple different entry models that you can be looking for. There's traders that use inverse for value gaps. There's traders that use change in state of delivery. There's traders that you wait for the pullback to the imbalance. There's traders that just literally take the SMT soup right when it forms. You have to get comfortable with what you're doing, and if this looks fine to me, again, it all just depends on who you are as a trader. Me personally, I always like waiting for the first imbalance to get ran through. That's just how I grew my conviction for taking soups. Like right when I see it, it's a little scary because you have like that split second of recognizing it. So always for me, the best thing to do is just another checklist on my list for if I'm trading soup is just wait for the first imbalance to get ran through. So, but it all depends. I don't know where I should have put my SL. Should it be lower? At lowest a bullish reversal candle or wait to see if the candle closed outside of 1 minute fair value gap. This is fine. Your stop needs to exactly be this low. If you're taking this entry with this SMT, your stop needs to be this recent low. Yeah. I got out before target because that was all I needed to pass my eval. But in general, should I trim before Sibi? Because at that, I wouldn't know if to hold or turn. No. Your first price target should be this high. Actually, no, this isn't actually a bad exit. This 1 minute fair value gap isn't a bad exit because you're taking precautions for this to possibly be more generated buy side. So it's not bad. But I would definitely leave most, but it's not bad to take a position there off, no. Yeah, but first trim would be this high, and then again, I would let the rest go to the external high because it's exactly in favor of the draw and liquidity, right? This is exactly what we need to see. After this move, we know we're going to these highs, right? Because this is the move that we needed to validate that we're going to these highs. Great question. Can you explain where to move your stops to when pyramiding into an entry or pyramiding into a trade? I move my stops in relationship to whatever my risk is. So, for example, let's talk about this. Let's say I'm taking longs here, right? And I'm looking to scale in. let's say I initially scale in. Let's say my initial long is on the breaker, right? And I put my stop, let's say like right here. And I'm targeting this high, okay? Now I'm in half my position here. So I'm looking for manipulation, right? I'm giving myself room because since we're coming into this breaker, there's still a possibility we come back down lower, right? We can still come back down here. So I'm giving myself room, and guess what? Again, since I'm in half risk, this gives me the ability to loosen my stop. Because if I trade my full size here, I normally wouldn't have this loose of a stop. So this is gonna be a bigger hit if I end up getting stopped on this. So I'm gonna give myself looser stop, half size, and then wait for the actual manipulation, or wait for the market to again be dumb clear of when we're ready to go. So I'm waiting. Boom, manipulation happens. This imbalance gets ran through. I immediately jump in the rest of my position. Where do I put my stop? Right. So I enter in here. My fill is now half of this. This around half of this move, so around here. And now my stop gets moved to here. This low. Because this low shouldn't get revisited because we've now taken this low. And now my risk is beautiful. And I'm now in my full size. But that's just one example of how to scale in. It all comes down to timing. Scaling, again, what students do not get right about pyramiding into an entry is they see, oh, a fair value gap. Let me add here. Oh, another fair value gap. Let me take another add here. They're taking in any time that we pull back to an imbalance. That's not how you should be looking to pyramid. You should be looking to pyramid in relation to why price should not go any higher or lower, because you need to position yourself to know if you are pyramiding, you are adding risk. And when you are adding risk, you need to manage your stop and you need to manage how much you are losing. So you need to be very patient until when you are entering and when you're adding a position. So you should not be looking to just add in random points. Think about adding in areas where you expect price to not go lower or not go higher based off of your stop loss. So why do I add here? Because now that we've taken this low, now that we have an SMT, I don't expect price to go back to this low. So now I get great risk out of this just from being patient to add. And that's all it is. It's just being patient, waiting for price to show you it no longer needs to sit here. Does that make sense? Turtle Soup is literally just an SMT in favor of the draw. Soup is just taking the manipulation. It's recognizing manipulation from an SMT and taking the entry. This is Soup right here. This whole model is a Soup. Accumulation, we have the draw higher. We come down, take this low. We have an SMT, right? Recognizing where ES is. ES doesn't end up taking this low. Higher high or higher low. NQ makes lower low. This becomes an SMT. This should go straight up. It does. I know you always talk about focusing on good habits. As a beginner trader, what are some good habits I should start working on? Great question. Every single day you are going into the market. Number one, actually, everybody get out their notebook. If you're taking notes, this needs to be everything that you need to live by as a trader. Everything that you need to constantly remind yourself. My entire trading journey, these things will always be valuable. They will never lose value. So number one, go into every trading day expecting to not take a trade. That's number one. Number two, go into every single trade expecting to lose. Number three, go into every single trading day with the primary focus of building good habits. Those habits are having good position sizing, following your position sizing, not over leveraging, practicing patience, practicing discipline, not over trading, only taking high quality setups, not taking low quality setups, recognizing when to step away, when to continue trading, when to be offensive, when to be defensive. And those are the main things that should follow your trading. You should not be going into the market trying to make money, trying to get funded, trying to, anything other than building good habits every single day. Every time you wake up in the morning and look at the market, your main focus should be just taking good setups and doing exactly what you should be doing in relationship to the trades. not making money. A lot of you guys look at the chart and you start looking at your P&L and you start looking at your account size. Oh, I got $1,000 more until I can get a payout. I got $1,000 more until I can get funded. Oh my God, this looks like a long right here. Let me just try to squeeze out a couple points so I can pass my funded real quick. And then you end up blowing it when like you're like, how many times have you guys been like couple $100 away from getting funded? You take a dumb trade just because you want to get funded and you end up losing all the progress just because you broke that one rule. Again, it just shows you it has nothing to do. When you are focused on making money, your outcome of trading will be diminished. You will get absolutely fucked because you're not trading. You're trying to make money. Again, you are not paid for your time. You are paid for your decision making and the opportunity that the market gives you. If there is no opportunity, you are not taking a trade. You should not be taking a trade. But Justin, you expect me to sit there all day and not touch a button? Yes, I am. And if you can't, you're going to fucking fail. I'm sorry. I'll be dead ass with you. If you don't have the discipline to sit in front of a chart for at least a week straight and not take a trade, you're going to fail. Recognizing conditions, recognizing when to be offensive versus defensive. How long into your journey did it take for things just to start click? Were you struggling to draw bad habits at first? Absolutely. I was struggling. I was down bad. I would make the exact same mistakes over and over again. I would blow up my account in a day because I would literally trade until I was either back green on the day or my account was entirely gone. I would jump in long, jump in short. Like in the span of like an hour, I would take 30 trades until my account was gone because I didn't have any self-discipline. I had no control over myself. I would literally just get into a zone, had no idea what I was doing, just continue to click buttons until my account was gone, until at the end, you come to a realization, you're like, Justin, what the fuck did I just do? I used to have that problem a lot. Couple years ago, and now you see how disciplined I am. Why do you think that is? Because I got slapped so many times in the face. I got slapped 1,000 times when I finally came to the realization that there is literally no other way of being extremely successful unless you are extremely disciplined and have extreme level of patience. And if you, it all just comes down to how bad you want it. If anyone has not watched Justin's Market Maker video, go watch it 3 times. I'm serious. I agree with that. Go watch it 3 times. All right, let's talk a little bit about actually any trades that you guys took we want to review real quick too. What do you think? Short-term buy-side swept, not major reversal zone like you said because draw was higher. Solid breaker block as well. SMT at the lows. Again, looks beautiful, brother. All right, let's talk about what we're looking at going into tomorrow. Let's clean up the chart here a bit. So, zooming out to the 4-hour, what can I expect to see going into tomorrow? Right? Number one, we've done everything that we've needed to do. We've rebalanced price lower. We've got displacement to the upside. We've rebalanced the 4-hour bounce. Keep in mind, now I don't think this will hold, but we did take this internal high, and we do have an SMT at the highs. Again, recognizing where ES is at the top right now. We've already taken this high. We've already taken this previous high. So we do have a bearish SMT at these highs. And what I want you guys to keep in mind as well is we are at a point in time in the market where most of the time we can expect a possible rug pull. And what I mean by that, and this just comes from experience, most of the time, and again, we could look back on this and laugh because when we are at a point in time like this where everybody starts to come to the realization that market is not going to stop going higher is when we stop going higher. And a lot of the times what will happen is we'll continue to run higher until everybody is on board when we're at all-time highs, and then we'll immediately reverse and then probably dump probably in like a quarter of the time to at least erase half of the move. So what I'm expecting is when we start to zoom out here and look at the daily, what are we doing? What do you think we're doing here? What does this look like we're doing that we normally do when we're on buy side of the curve? We're starting to generate all of this sell side. We're starting to generate all this sell side, right? So we're now at highs. We've now created this massive range. We've been bullish. We've been running bullish for the last 100 days. So I'm expecting to see some sort of manipulation in the coming month or two to start rebalancing price to equilibrium, right? Because how does markets move? We're going to expand, work our way back. So I'm expecting, again, right now we're working our way up, continue to generate sell stops before in the next probably 3 months or so, working our way back down to go hunt all these sell stops, working right back to equilibrium of the range. But that's not something we have to worry about right now. But I'm just saying right where we're at a point in time where we could expect to see a possible manipulation move. But before that happens, I'm not going to try to predict it, right? Until it happens and it's clear to us, we shouldn't be looking to take any trades because of it. So going into tomorrow, where we're at right now, there's two things that I want to be marking. This 4-hour fair value gap, this could get ran through to the downside. If this gets ran through to the downside, where am I watching? I'm watching this big wick here. I'm going to mark consequent encroachment of this wick. I wouldn't want to see us come back down to this, but it is a possibility that we could. So keep that in mind. I would want to see this 4-hour fair value gap continue to hold and then just reverse and work our way back up. So it all is really going to depend on what happens in the overnight session. Because if we end up coming up and taking this high in the overnight session, I'm going to be pretty patient going into tomorrow to see what happens. But if we end up retracing in the overnight session, I'm going to wait for that early manipulation in the morning to continue higher. So it really all just depends on what happens in the overnight session. Is it just me, or do you feel like you have no idea how to trade anymore after the weekend going into Monday? It's weird, and I don't know how to explain it. Almost like I'm not confident in myself, but once I hit the charts, I feel like I'm locked in. I don't have that problem. I don't know. Do other people have that problem? Yes. A lot of you guys do. No idea how to trade anymore. Okay, but when you guys get on the charts, are you guys good? Okay, you're fine. You're just a little, again, that's totally fine. You guys, it's like I don't think you guys realize it's just like anything else you fucking do in your life. Like if you're a college football player, if you play a sport and you end up taking a week off, you're going to get it's going to take you a couple minutes to get your limbs warmed up, get back in the game, and then you're fine. It's the same thing with anything you do in your life. Like, of course, you take some time off, you come back, those muscles are going to be a little bit weaker because you haven't been working on them. But right when you get back into it, you're fine. So I wouldn't worry about it. That looks good, Mo. It's like how you play creative before hopping into arena. There you go. Whatever works for you. Yeah, that doesn't look too bad, Jay. I like it. Drop the color settings? I got you here. Send the link over. All right. Any last questions for me? Take the time to really think. What have you been struggling with? Any questions you guys want to ask me? How you do consequent encroachment? Consequent encroachment is just the midpoint. So I'll take, again, I'll zoom out to the 4-hour. We have this big wick here. And I'm measuring from the body high, or the body low, right? Literally just the wick. So the high is just the low of the body to the low of the wick. It's just the wick I'm measuring. On the first long on Friday, I wanted to enter on NQ on a unicorn model, but it ended up running without the last model, so I entered long instead on ES since it wasn't taking off yet. Would it have better been to just enter off of running the bearish fair value gap? How do you know that would have worked? You wait for it to happen. Wait for the fair value gap to run and then take it. And again, if you don't have the conviction with it, continue to watch it until you have the conviction to take it. Because it happens all the time. That's just how it works, is trading the inverse. Like, again, my entry model of what I look for is displacement and fair value gaps getting ran through. If that fair value gaps gets ran through, the only reason in this specific case of why I can take that entry is because there's an SMT. If there is no SMT there, I am not just taking an entry off of that fair value gap getting ran through. I have to see more displacement. But since there's an SMT, that shows me there's no reason to go lower, and I can take the early entry. When trading ES and NASDAQ, how do you know What is the benchmark? How do you know what is the benchmark? What do you mean by that? What do you mean by what is the benchmark? Can you explain, please explain SMT? SMT is a divergence between ES and NQ. So I'd recommend, here, actually, let me just link you this. It'll be easier. I go more in depth. I have a whole video going over SMT. So becoming a... Here, watch this. What is up, guys? I'm having trouble finding my drawn liquidity for the day. No way. Guess what? I have a video for that. Becoming a success. I don't think you guys realize how much free education is at your fucking fingertips with right here. Like, I don't think you guys understand how much educational content I've posted on this page. If we see a push up, every single thing that you probably have a problem with, it's here. There's no way you guys have watched all of these videos. How many hours? There's 445 videos. You guys have not. These are like almost an hour of fucking piece. There's no way you guys have watched all these videos. There's no shot. And all the unlisted ones too, the previous charting sessions. Actually, I guess a lot of these are shorts actually, so. Drop the OTE settings. I got you. I've watched every educational. I'm trying to work my way through all the live sessions and charting sessions, etc. Recently, I found myself taking 2 to 3 low quality trades, finding myself in drawdown, and then I lock in and end up slightly green on the day. Any tips to fix this? Just don't take the low quality setups. Like, that's literally that simple. You know exactly what the problem is. You know exactly how to fix it. Like, you literally just told me what the problem was. So this isn't a problem about trading. It's a problem about discipline. As you just can't not take those setups because you have nothing else to do except for sit in your chair. So you don't have enough discipline. You don't have enough patience. Because you know you're taking those low quality setups. So why are you taking them? If you know they're low quality. Don't overcomplicate it. I've seen a lot of people and bought a lot of courses, and I swear YouTube Justin is worth like 10K easy. Much love, brother. Yeah, you really don't need much. Now, there's definitely a lot of shit that you won't get on this YouTube, which you will get from like these charting sessions, which are more, again, I think the difference between like YouTube content versus like charting sessions and mentorship content is charting session and mentorship, the interaction creates a lot of really in-depth problems that a lot of people struggle with that they can't necessarily figure out. Just from when you are able to converse about those ideas and talk about similar problems and how other people have, surpassed them. And I think that is where the value lies with actually, the charting sessions and stuff. And that I don't think you can get that with the YouTube. Do it D5. See how it goes. See how it goes. I think it was Debo showing he only took 8 trades in January and banked close to 10K. Made me see the power of just waiting for high quality setups. Exactly. Guys, less is more. You will always realize this. So, if you don't realize this, trust me, it'll get to a point in your trading where you realize this. Less is always, always more with trading. You will make more money if you trade less. Your concepts are starting to click and it's freaking me out. You should get excited. Thoughts on this L on NFP morning? My risk was really tight since probably moved close to my target. Yeah, there's no trade here. There's no trade here. Again, like we said, once this initial move happens, patient. Wait for more structure. Wait for more structure. Wait for it to be dumb clear. This entry is not dumb clear. Can you drop OTE settings, brother? I got it. I just did so. I got you. Let me screenshot this. There you go. Thanks for drilling discipline into my head. Got you, Debo. Keep it up, brother. You're killing it. If you have a 15-minute point of interest, right, say a fair value gap, and then get down to a 1 minute to find a market structure shift to target the highs, that's my favorite setup. But do the leg that creates the market structure shift need to have touched equilibrium to be valid break? Because I showed you once last week and said it was not a setup there, and I mean the equilibrium of the down breaking leg. No, it does not need to get to, it does not, honestly, I prefer it to not get to equilibrium. I prefer it to not get to equilibrium because there's a reason for then price going higher if I'm taking a trade. Because if we retrace back to equilibrium and that's our market structure shift, that could be another move higher to probably create buy side. In the worst case, that's like if we fail to recognize what the model is. But there's more of a reason to go higher if we haven't retraced back to equilibrium on that initial move higher. So I honestly, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if we reach it or not. I like how you're doing Trade of the Month. I think that's really a great way to make students stay disciplined. How you qualify for Trade of the Month? Trade of the Month. I mean, we'll start. Honestly, I feel bad. I feel like I should have did a funded giveaway for the people. So I'm gonna do that going forward. So the people will actually get something. So I'll be giving any person who gets Trade of the Month from now forward. Sorry James and everybody else, but we'll be giving them funded accounts. But really all it is just showing up. Me and DJ are always watching to see the people that are putting in the work, constantly improving, showing they're improving, helping others, and just constantly just being a good trader and helping and just doing what they should be doing. Again, if you're posting P&Ls and you're like, Justin, I just made $20,000. Why am I not? I don't give a fuck how much money you make. I will pick somebody as a better trader who's making $50 a week because they're actually doing what they need to be doing versus somebody who just made 20K from gambling. Like, that's just not who we are as a community. And you will find that in many other communities, many other places in this space, because that is what is flashy. That is what will show other people, oh my God, I can make 20K. I can make 20K. People don't care how you made 20K. I can say, hey, brother, I made 20K, but I secretly snuck fucking Coke across the border and ended up selling it to little migrant children. But hey, I made $20,000. Oh, great. Let's clap for this guy, man. 20K. Wow, this guy makes money. Money means fucking nothing. Scratch the fucking idea of money inside your head and actually get a clear mind. Money has nothing to fucking do with it. It has to do with the input to get the money. What are you inputting psychologically, mentally, financially to then get that output? I don't give a fuck what you did or how you got the money. I need to know exactly the reasoning why you did it, how you did it, and do you know that you were doing it for the good? That is the most important part. Are you happy with it? Because there's people I know that are fucking miserable. That they have so much money, but they're fucking miserable. You want to know why? Because they know that the way that they made their money wasn't right. That's why. And trust me, when you start focusing on these habits and you end up making money, the satisfaction of it is so much more fucking fulfilling. It's so much more fulfilling. Much love. Much love. All right, guys. That's all I have for you guys tonight. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the session. I'm super excited for the week. Oh yeah, let's take one last look at news because we did earlier, but I don't think the recording was going. So we got PMI going into Monday, so I will be trading. We do got some nice red folder news going into Monday. Tuesday we don't got anything. Wednesday we don't get anything, and then Thursday unemployment claims. Friday we don't have anything. So 3 days this week we have no news. So again, being cautious, being patient. I will be trading mostly full size going into Monday because we do have news. So we'll end up seeing what the PA looks like. Going into the morning. And also, we'll also see what happens in the overnight session. But yeah. All right, guys. Enjoy the rest of your night. Get some rest. I will see you all tomorrow morning. Peace out, guys.